So I'm taking you guys on my walk today, and we're going to talk about some stuff while we walk up into the canyon here. I'm going to see if there's any elderberries on the trees still. I don't know if you just heard that, but that was a hawk. Anyway, today's talk, we're going to talk about laws. Laws and morality. Because there's a lot of folks that are seemingly confusing laws and morality. So I was talking to some brutally honest drunk folks the other day, and all these guys that are seemingly struggling a little bit in their lives to maintain a happiness because they're seeking it through outside stimulation. They're not making it within. Whenever you're not making your happiness from within, it can be taken away. And so you live in fear of your happiness being taken away. And they're such manly men, such beer-swelling, tool shop building manly men, that they surely wouldn't ask for help because they know everything already, And when you know everything already and your cup's full, you're never really going to learn anything. Because my cup was full for a while. I was successfully running a business. I was successfully lusting after and achieving, whatever kind of girlfriend I wanted at the time. But it wasn't making me happy. It was kind of making me content for a little while, and then you weren't content anymore because the happiness wasn't real. So, anyway, we're talking about laws, and laws are something that should be followed if they align with morality. But see, we've got so many man-made laws now that a lot of them don't really align with morality anymore. They're just more aligned with greed, or somebody making money, or somebody's control over another person. Which, if we're trying to control other people, well, I think that's a sick mind. Because I guess in my 44 trips around the sun, I've learned that for me to control me in a way that other people enjoy me, they just don't tolerate me, it's a pretty full-time job, You gotta maintain your thoughts, your actions. Are you doing what you want other people to do to you at every moment in time? Or is there a lot of oops, didn't mean to say that, didn't mean to hurt that person, like that. If there's a lot of errors in our lives, we're not doing it consciously. Because I think when really anybody puts their mind to something, and they focus on what they're doing, they can really create a life that they really enjoy. So, some rocks have been falling in my trail, so one of these days I'm not holding a camera and a notebook and and talking, we'll move those. But sometimes people see barricades in their life And they'll fight them 1,000 times instead of handling them once. You know, it's like stepping over a rock in your, you know, put a rock on your sidewalk. See how many people will walk around it or step over it? It's right in the way, you know? Put it right in the way. And see how many people will take and throw it out of the way. And you can also take and see how many people are going to put it next to a little bush or something so it actually protects it from the weed eaters and stuff like that. This becomes a pool in the wintertime. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool pool because I made it. And there's a waterfall that comes up off of this cliff right here. I didn't make that, but it really pours down right here. That's what I was doing in one of my other videos, is I'm making another pool. So then it'll fill up there, and then I want it to cascade into this pool here that we're currently working on, and then kind of flow over the wall right there. So yeah, I've thrown I've thrown a lot of rocks. You stack a lot of rocks, you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and you find more cool things. I think there's a cave down here somewhere. I want to find it. There's cool little areas here. Notice we changed the elevation about 80 to 100 feet on our little walk up here. Anyway, we're talking about people wanting to control each other with laws. And, so I had an issue with the county code enforcement people. And, somebody had called them and complained. And they said that I had a person staying on my property not in a house, and they said that they're living here. And so the county code enforcement guy, he calls me up and he says, we're gonna go to that story. That one takes too long. I got another one though. Same guy, a few years earlier. He drove up onto my property and he said, "Hey, you got these Ocean Cargo boxes?" And I said, "Yeah, they're kind of hard to hide, huh?" And he said, "Well, you didn't buy permits for those." And I said, "Well, why would I buy permits for those?" And he said, "Well, because those are a piece of real estate." And I said, "No, they're not a piece of real estate." I said, "They're a piece of personal property being temporarily stored on real estate." And he said, "Well," "no, you're going to have to go buy permits for those." And I said, "I'm not going to buy permits for those." And I said, "Because you don't have any regulation on things that are temporarily placed on my personal property." And, so he kept on trying to say, and I was like, "You know what?" I said, "I didn't invite you on my property. I'd like you to leave right now." He got a little huffy, but he got in his truck and he left. And I was, thinking to myself, I'm like, oh shit, what kind of can of worms I just opened up? But I never heard about that topic again. They never bothered me again. It was just because I said, no, you don't have authority over what I do on my personal property when I have created no victims and I've hurt no one. I'm just doing things did I want to do? And I must have been right, because they didn't bother me again about it. But, so anyway, I was telling one of my drunk friends about that story. And he was like, oh, well, Bart, you're just trying to get out of the law, man. You know, you shouldn't be avoiding the law. And I said, that? I said, so do you think that's moral for them to be able to come up and like force me to do something different on my property when I'm not hurting nobody? He's like, well, the laws are there for a reason. And I said, that's the mentality right there. That, less than 100 years ago, you would have been able to cage, beat, and rape a black person because they were a slave instead of a person? Because they're a slave instead of a natural human being? Bullshit. There's a thing. We shouldn't follow a law because it's a law. Laws are there so we can help define morality. If I punch somebody in the face because they looked at me funny, well, that would be breaking the law of, like, assault and battery, right? I think. There's so many different terminologies and definitions, when we start getting into legal stuff. But, okay, beating somebody up without provocation, that should be against the law. That's against your morals. You don't want that to be done to you. Walking by somebody in a subway or whatever, punch them in the face. No, that's not cool. But so why do we think that because we won't do it, that we should hire somebody else to do it? This guy got out of his he got out of his truck. He must be like, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", 100 pounds, 110 pounds, soaking wet. But he had a big belt buckle and a badge. So he thought he was some shit. And so he got a little flustered when I didn't play his game. I was like, dude, who do you think you are? And I said, at least I'm not like one of my friends. This was years ago before surveillance, and people were monitoring everything with cell phones or whatever. But he's lucky I'm not him. Anyway, that guy quit his job the next day. So one of my other friends, he's much more influential when it comes to trying to step on his rights. So anyway, this guy, he was really thinking I should just comply with the law. And I said, but the law doesn't make sense. I was like, you've got corporations being able to do the exact same thing that I'm doing, unregulated, but now it's because it's on my piece of personal property, and I have a big box, cargo box, kind of go on the back of like semi-trucks, or they go over the ocean. They deliver, they're empty when they go to China, and they're full when they come back, right? So that's another thing that could change, for us. But, okay, so we're going to get back on the topic of laws, man-made, here's the title for the talk, Man's Laws Make Life Suck. Let's talk about some of man's made laws that make life suck. I believe in natural law. You shouldn't kill. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't rape or pillage. We should practice the principles of self-ownership. If I own me and you own you, then the only way that I should be able to influence what you do is by my action. Maybe you're like, holy shit, I didn't know that if you just start throwing rocks from the bottom of where water usually falls, that it will make a really cool pool, and other people do it. Then that's cool. I'm not going to force you to do it. I'm not going to say, hey, you better come in here, or I'm going to send men with guns after you to throw you in a cage if you don't do as I say. If it's a good idea, it's followed and it's entered into voluntarily. But if it's if you have a shitty idea, well, you're not going to get people just to follow along with it. You're going to have to either force them, or You're gonna have to coerce them into it, saying, "Hey, I'll give you some money if you do this." And then people are willing to do a lot of things for money. I mean, like I sold this body for 22 years, plumbing and tile work and concrete and carpentry and welding and heavy equipment operating and a lot of things that can wear on your body. So yeah, I mean, I sold myself. Anyway, let's so housing. Okay, so regulations on housing. We have this idea that the normal way of building a house, with like wood and sheetrock and stuff like that, is the best way. But what the government establishes for building construction standards are minimum standards. And so these are the minimum standards in which a house capable of being lived in, and being lived in means that you're staying there. I mean, you are there a lot. So these are the minimum standards. So the minimum standard is if you put it off the ground this far, you have to do a certain level of insulation all the way through it. Right? Okay. Well, one alternative would be putting it right on the ground. Putting it right on the ground, because then you've got the Earth's thermal mass helping to maintain the temperature year-round of the residence, and it doesn't. It's not going to be as expensive to heat or cool, or to maintain. I mean, if you don't pour concrete, what if you just laid like really decorative blocks and bricks and stuff all the way through your house? And then that way, if you ever had a water leak, it just filters right down through there. And if you build your walls right, you'd be able to come in, and instead of dusting your whole house, you'd just be able to hose it all down like a cave. I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, you ever spray off your porch? It smells really good. If it smells fresh, that's what your house can smell like all the time. I think that's like the smell of God. Like the smell of cleanliness, the comfortable feel. So anyway, we're getting back to housing. If minimum standards for housing weren't there, and people thinking that was their only option, what we could be doing is, just like I've been building these little walls out of rocks, well, if you take a little bit of concrete and you put it between the rocks, you can really build some pretty substantial walls. I mean, like Fred Flintstone shit going on, And those houses never caught on fire. And I never even saw like a remodeling crew happening to come in and tear out walls because of mold and termites, and put new stuff in. No, maybe they just didn't show it, but I mean, rock is really tough stuff. It's been around for a long time. I mean, it's cast in fire, right? I mean, so anyway, we've got a lot of options that aren't being considered, and people thinking that the option that's been provided is the only option that anybody should be able to do because of these laws, these minimum standards. And some laws aren't even minimum standards anymore. They're just like, I don't think you should do this, and so fucking 4 people get into a ritual, or 50 people get into a ritual, and they say I, and it happens, and they write it down on a piece of paper, and they expect everybody else to follow it because they thought something. Well, fuck, there's been cults of hundreds, cultures of hundreds of people, and thousands or millions, that when one person says, let's do this, and they say, okay, let's go all jump off a bridge. Okay, let's all drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, no. That's the problem, is people don't own themselves. They're acting like they're a little bitch. They're like, oh, I need somebody to watch over me. I need somebody to do this. I need somebody to hold my hand and kiss my ass and make me feel good. You know what? No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to take control of your own life. You need to say, you know what? I know what's best for me. It's not my mom and dad that are telling me what to do. I came through them, not to them. I thank them for the vessel in which they didn't abort. I mean, fuck, like 2,700 kids a day are getting aborted, but that we know of. There's a lot of things that we could be doing that can change. I know I'm going on some tangents here, but these guys just really woke me up to some how ignorant people can be, and I think their ignorance is pretty grand because of the amount of alcohol they consume. Um, you know, I know I was ignorant, and I was consuming alcohol. And once I stopped consuming alcohol, I started learning a lot more and a lot faster, and had a desire to learn. It wasn't just, drowning out my problems. Now I was confronting them and making them to where they worked for me. But what if we didn't have this perception of authority over how we build our houses and construct our homes? And if we took natural resources and we took a little piece of public land, that isn't being used by anybody else, and we put up a little shelter, and it has maybe even a little wood stove in it, and it has the ability of us to get out of the elements like any other animal in nature does. They don't pay to exist. Why should man? A natural man should not pay to exist. We're the only animals on the planet that do it. We're the only animals on the planet that ask for permission from somebody else to exist. I think that's wrong. Straight up. I think that is a sick mentality. That is not aligned with free will. That is not aligned with the creation that God has given us. So we could house everybody on Earth if we were just using natural resources in a way that doesn't align with the standard American dream. But the standard American dream to me is an acronym, or SAD, I guess, is an acronym for that, because it is a sad reality. A life of perpetual debt. I got a buddy who's a contractor. Builds really nice big custom homes to the minimum standard, right? I asked him, I'm like, well, that's all right. So I said, somebody's likely going to be in a 30-year mortgage on this deal, right? He's like, yeah, if they're lucky, maybe a 15-year. If they've got a good job, they get some stability, and maybe a dual income family or something. I was like, all right. I said, how much is that? How long is that home supposed to last where they won't have to put in some big money into it? A roof repair, plumbing, electrical upgrades, stuff like that. And he's like, well, about 50 years. 50 years is a good time frame for a house that, it's life expectancy, I guess. I said, all right, so you've got a 30-year mortgage on a 50-year shelter. And he says, well, yeah, I guess when you put it that way, you're paying quite a bit for that. And I said, if we built houses out of rock and stone, like some of these castles and stuff that have been built, and some of these really old homes that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, I said, would that be a legitimate alternative? He says, yeah, but anybody can do that. He says it takes crews of people working together and stuff to build these houses. And I said, yeah, but you can still have a crew of people coming together, and everybody could stack rocks, and everybody can glue them together with some concrete. And I think I got him thinking a little bit. But yeah, we're the choices that we are making have us living in perpetual debt. And these choices that we are making have been advertised to us from a culture. We were born into it. We're born into saying, oh yeah, this is normal, and this is normal, and this is normal. But the thing is normal isn't natural. And it's far from natural. In nature, everything is reciprocal. The tree, it grows up. But as it's growing and it's taking nutrients from the ground, it's turning dirt, nutrients, and the water into leaves and fruit and wood and a product that when it falls back down, it replenishes right to the ground. People, we take from the land, we poop, but then it uses 3 gallons of water to flush it down to the sewage treatment plant every time we go to the bathroom. The nutrients need to be going back to the land. The water needs to be going back to the land. The way we're doing, people can live in a community, in a city, and it can be done in a way that is beneficial, and it can be done in a way that the waste products are producing biogas, methane. Methane, natural gas, the stuff that you go buy, that's methane with some sodium hydroxide, something like that, put in it, so that it smells like rotten eggs instead of farts. Because if you had a natural gas leak and it smelled like farts, you might think it's part of your plumbing system. So they put the rotten egg smell in it, so that way you can differentiate the leaks in your standard American dream home. But you're paying to get rid of all your waste, but then you're paying for the product to come back to you in just a slightly modified and patented form. So if we instead implemented small systems in each community, each neighborhood would then have, we just stop by and get our methane for our vehicle. And instead of a gas tank that holds petroleum, you'd have like propane tanks or vessels in which you'd pump methane into. And then your methane is a combustible fuel capable of being used in an internal combustion motor, which most vehicles have right now. There's housing. We wouldn't have homelessness if we started building efficiently. We're going to go into something else here, and I'd like to leave other people some room to add some items. I'd like to get these videos as a forum that we can all be talking and we can be bringing ideas, because a lot of these ideas, they weren't mine. I didn't just come up with this shit. I'm watching the ravens over there. They've got a nest. It's pretty cool watching the ravens and the hawks sometimes get aerial battles going on there. But I didn't make up this stuff. I've learned from a lot of people. I've spent the last the last good decade learning globally about efficient ways of doing things, and I've come across some pretty amazing teachers. And so now I'm here to just bring the amazing teachers that I've witnessed and mentored under. They don't even know me. It was YouTube University that I learned from. But when we bring this efficiency into our localized environment and we put action behind thought and desire, we can accomplish a lot of great things. And it just takes coming together and doing it. Not coming together to watch Super Bowl, because imagine just the money spent in one season on one sport in one country. Imagine the energy that's spent in that direction gets shifted towards something that mattered. I love the fact that people are really involved in what they like. But we should start doing it towards what matters, because that's what matters, right? Minimum wage. Minimum wage is another topic that we should consider dropping the laws on. I know what you're thinking, but people will be extorted. People are already being extorted, okay? But people are also being prevented from earning an income because their skill level is not commensurate to the minimum wage. So I know somebody who works with developmentally disabled folks, and it is extremely hard to help them find employment because of the minimum wage standard. They're happy if they can pet puppies and be creating things out, raking up areas, making them pretty, making things, doing art projects that would actually, do a return. They love to be active. I volunteered with them. I've seen what kind of bliss and happiness they can bring to a person's life. And they don't. It's really beneficial if they can earn their own way, so they're not a burden to their family, because we don't have really that many state agencies really helping people out. We've got people being helped, but not in a way that's really truly beneficial. So it is beneficial if they can kind of help earn their own way. But they would be happy making $3 an hour. And if the product of their labor, the fruit of their labor, is only $3 or $4 an hour, it's fair. What a person is willing to enter into and what they enjoy doing, there shouldn't be regulation on it. I've worked, you know what? Arrest me. I have worked for less than minimum wage. I have. And, it's because the person that was asking of my most precious asset, my time, didn't have a lot to offer. But I don't think anything should be done for free for people. I think it removes their feeling of dignity, if they can't pay you back. Sure, it makes the person that's doing it feel good, because you're like, ooh, I did that for them. But you know what? You're no better or worse than them. And we shouldn't make them feel bad so you can feel good. People think I'm kind of a hard ass. I'm I'm kind of a no bullshit person. If you want something from me, what are you gonna give me in return? If it's something that I feel is a good exchange of energy, it doesn't have to be the same amount of money or the same quality of product or whatever. But if it's something I can use, something that makes my life a little bit easier, and what you're getting, you enjoy, perfect. That's the way we should be working. That's self-ownership, non-aggression. I'm not gonna. If I tell you that this rock is worth $4, and you've never seen a rock quite so perfect. It's wow. But you only want to give me $3. Well, I'm not gonna beat you up and make you give me $4. I'm just gonna put the rock in my pocket. But then if you're like, look, dude, all right, I really think that your rock's pretty cool, but $4 is too much. How about $3.25? Would you do that? Well, all right, there you go. It's your rock. That's the way we should be conducting our lives with each other. You have a service, you offer a service. What can you exchange for? That is a natural way of being. Anyway, so if we, okay, so there's homeless folks in the town next to where I live, and well, a lot of them don't even consider them homeless. I got a friend, you call him Joker, and he says, man, he says, I don't want that bullshit. He says, having to try to come up with $700 every month to have a piece of shelter over my head that I'm stuck in a box, and then come up with another $100 a month so I can keep it warm. But it's a big old area, and I'm just me. I'm just little. He says, when I'm on the street, he says, I can set up my tarp. And he says, I can get my little camp stove going inside there. And he says, I'm warm as shit. And he says, or if it gets really cold, I throw my sleeping bag on. He says, the time that I used to be spending $700 a month, or around that to live, now I'm out enjoying the park. I'm out watching deer. I'm out just enjoying life. I'm hanging out with my friends. And so I consider it home free. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have all that crap. He says, if I want to go south, he says, I want to go see my friends down in California. I save up a few bucks. He says, I work under the table, and sometimes they're only willing to pay me $6 or $8 an hour. But he says, but $6 or $8 an hour for spending my time getting what I want versus not being able to get a job for the $11 an hour. I'll do it. He says, in a day, I can earn a bus ticket to hundreds of miles away from here. In one day. Or in one day, I can buy a new sleeping bag if somebody steals my sleeping bag. Or in one day, I can buy a new tent. It's all these laws that are preventing people from thriving. There's a preacher in Florida that he was feeding the homeless people. God forbid that shit, right? They've arrested him. I think they've arrested him like 4 times, 5 times. And he keeps doing it. Rebel. I like rebels. Rebels with a cause. You shouldn't just be like, fuck life. But you should say fuck laws if they don't make sense. And the policy enforcers that are willing to initiate violence on a non-violent person should be shamed. I spent 9 years active duty to fight oppression and fight tyranny and fight the exact same things I was supporting by working for my psychotic uncle. I always thought he was kind of a creepy guy on the posters. I want you to do my bullshit. That's what it needs to finish saying. I want you to do the shit that I'm not going to do for myself, because I'm going to make you my little bitch. I'm not even going to pay you very much. And I'm going to treat you really poorly in basic training. I'm going to break you down so I can build you up. I'm building them up into a good little slave. Somebody that says, go point a gun at him, and if he defends himself, shoot him. I'm going to give you a one-way ticket all the way around the globe. Wait a minute. Where's the round trip? Well, if you're still among the breathing when we bring you back, then you get your ticket. But for now, we'll give you $5,000 a month. That's with foreign duty pay and hazardous duty pay. If you're married, you get a family separation allowance. We gotta stop supporting what we don't believe in. That means stop supporting laws that are immoral. Stop supporting politicians that are not aligned with providing the service of being a leader. Public service positions, they should be voluntary. And if people like what you're doing, they can support you. But it should be 100% transparent. There shouldn't be no hidden deals underneath here to try to accomplish this thing, this back room deal crap, whatever. But that's what's happening now. Is you got people getting a fat old paycheck, and you still got these people meeting in private, and you're like, hey man, this is what's going on here. We're gonna give you this if you sign this into law. Everything should be transparent. And if you're in a position of public service, everything you do to do with that position should be on YouTube. Live leaks of everything that you're doing to represent the people. But until we demand it, we're not going to get it. And there's a little term that I learned. It's called silence is compliance. It's like if you got a pizza sitting in front of you and there's 4 pieces left, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to take them. And everybody's sitting there and they say, oh my God, that guy has tattoos. And he's taller than me. And I better just let him. Well, I'll take all 4 pieces. Even though you might be hungry, I'll snatch all 4 pieces up, and I'll give one to my dog, and I'll give another one to my friend's dog, and then I'll eat one, and hopefully we all don't get lymphoma and stuff like that from eating pizza. But then everybody's gonna complain that, oh fuck, that was 4 pieces. I can't believe he just gave it to his dog, and I can't believe he just took that pizza, and I can't believe this. And I'm like, you didn't say nothing. I said what I was going to do, and you didn't say nothing. So, you can't bitch about the end product if you're not willing to get up and say something. I had a customer one time, but I think nobody had ever said anything to him. Because he was like that. I mean, I showed up to help him with a problem of his, with plumbing. And boy, he started barking at me. I mean, I think he was like a Marine drill instructor or something. I mean, he's a big guy too. I mean, he's probably 6'5". But but I got fire on my side. And and he barked up at me. And I looked at him and I said, "You sit your ass down." I said, "Who the fuck do you think you are talking to me like that?" And he sat his ass down in his kitchen. And I mean, he looked like a timid little boy that was just being scolded by the teacher. But I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? I said, I'm here to help you with a service that you need, that you've called me for. And I said, you come here barking at me? And he says, well, I'm sorry. I was just excited about this. I said, I don't give a shit how excited you are about something. I said, how old are you? 60, 70 years old? You should know how to control yourself by now. And he's like, no, you're right. I'm like, all right, so what's going on here? I help him out with his problem. I treat him with respect, but I'm unwilling to treat somebody with respect or just allow them to burden over me. I'm like, you don't own me. I own me. And anyway, before I left, he says, if I'm willing to treat you with the respect that you deserve, can I call you again? I said, of course. I'm not looking to build enemies, but I'm sure as hell not going to have somebody, try to rule over me. It's like, people looking to a president as a ruler, as a daddy figure. He ain't my daddy. He's the leader of the corporation of the United States of America. He's handling the business affairs. He is way too busy handling his life and all the bullshit that our government's involved in to be worried about you. You should be worried about you. And when you're worried about you and you take care of you so you're in a thriving way, we're not trying to control each other through all these bullshit laws. Because when we each control ourselves and we lead by example instead of expectation, at least we're going to be finding a real solution to problems, and we're going to be achieving the solutions, or we're seeking the solutions, and through action we'll be achieving results that we'll find favorable. But we got to do it. We can't wait for somebody else to do it. People are, these goddamn Antifa people, oh fuck. You got all these heavy right side folks cussing and bitching about these heavy left side folks because they're out doing something. But the heavy right side folks, most of them are sitting on their couch waiting for the next election to come up. Oh, we're going to get this guy in here now, then he'll change stuff. No, bullshit. Change it yourself. And unfortunately, most left-leaning side folks, they've been educated by the same system that runs oil, that runs pharmaceuticals, that runs healthcare, that runs consumer trends, that runs entertainment, runs media. It's kind of a small group of folks that actually control a lot of aspects of the world. So they're being led by folks that are willing to push their will on others. You've got some of these Antifa folks that are, and it's not all of them. I mean, because fascism is actually a good thing. I mean, really. I mean, it's eliminating the personal control over another person. I mean, that's a good thing. But then you got these guys that are trying to do it, and they're using violence to achieve their means. Saw two guys kind of arguing, which arguing is fine. It's better if you can stay calm and communicate. But they're only arguing. Well, some other dude comes up, smacks the guy over here with a lock. Why? That means that we're at a very immature level of We're very intellectually immature. We're emotionally immature. We're spiritually immature. But it's okay, because growth happens when we desire growth. Those who seek shall find. Right? So, anyway, I think that's about the stuff that we're going to talk about. We can reduce stress if we start teaching meditation in school. We can be living happier lives if we increase our physical health and mental health awareness. The solution to the laws, because laws are trying to prevent immoral damage or immoral acts. The solution is ostracism or boycott. Don't support what you don't like. So with unity and localization, with global communication to learn the efficient means, we can all step forward without having anybody rule over us. And that's the only reason we have to have people rule over us now, is because we got some people doing some stupid shit. And the people doing stupid shit keep getting enabled by the people that feel sorry for them. And the people that feel sorry for them are then being burdened because these people that are doing stupid shit just keep doing stupid shit, and then they feel the burden of them doing the stupid shit, but they're suffering the consequences. That's where ostracism comes in. People are doing stupid shit, gotta let them do stupid shit, but don't support them. If they steal from you, beat the hell out of them. Really, that's gonna stop them. Pain and brain, it rhymes for a reason. If they try to rape you, shoot them. If they try to kill you, shoot them. The modern firearm is a great equalizing tool. You don't have to be big and strong to be able to defend yourself. And it's only because somebody else aggressed against you that you would ever have to use it. The principle of non-aggression is never initiating force, but using whatever means you feel necessary, and to whatever level you feel necessary, to ensure the threat won't happen again. Police are minutes away when seconds count, and we have a natural right to be able to protect ourselves. So, anyway, I would love for people to share these videos if you like them, if you found anything beneficial from them, and contribute. Let me know what you think, because everybody has a piece of the puzzle, and when each piece is placed perfectly, and I call each piece like a pixel, the big picture becomes a masterpiece. And when everybody's mastering peace in their own life, we might be able to master peace on a global scale. It's at least worth a try. It's better than what we're doing now. So, it's free will. That's what it should be.